Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another video review for UFC 148. Wasn't sure if I was going to do this video, but thought I should do it since it's Tito's last fight. So, just wanted to talk a little bit about Tito Ortiz retiring, my thoughts on it, and do I think it's the right time, all that kind of stuff. So the fight itself was a pretty good fight, actually. Tito landed some really good shots against Forrest. Forrest, of course, won the decision, just pretty much based on cardio. I don't really feel like after watching the fight that that Forrest is actually a better striker than Tito. I mean, technically, technically, I don't think he's a better striker. I don't think he's a better wrestler. It really just comes down to cardio. I mean, Forrest can throw 3 times, 4 times as many punches than Tito can, and they can be, in terms of cardio, they'll be at the same level. Tito's cardio is, Tito's a bigger guy than Forrest, muscle-wise. He carries around more muscle mass, and of course, he's getting on in the years. He's 37 now, and he's had so many fights in the UFC and the Octagon. It's just getting time near the end of his career here. But if Tito really had better cardio, he probably would have won that fight. And the thing with Forrest is he just makes guys tired because he's got such good cardio and he works so damn hard. I don't actually think he's that talented physically. I think he just works so damn hard that it puts him over the top. It puts him to that level where he was a UFC champion. It puts him to the level where he's top 10 in the light heavyweight division for all these years. And I'd still consider him to be top 10. I think it's somewhere in there. And just based basically on, yes, he is, he doesn't suck. Like, he's not, I make it sound like he's got no skills. No, I mean, obviously he is a great fighter, but what I'm saying is compared to the other guys, he's not as good of a striker as a lot of the other guys. He's not as good of a wrestler as a lot of the other guys. His jiu-jitsu is very underrated and is fantastic. But, he really, where he excels at is his work ethic, his cardio. He comes and he can just throw, like with Tito, probably 3 times as many punches, and their cardio is at about the same, they're same amount of breaths, they're equally as tired. So, literally like twice or 3 times the, as good a cardio as Tito, you could look at it as. And, really that's what won him the fight because he got taken down. He got landed on with some really good shots and rocked a couple times. I mean, Tito looked really good in this fight. The thing is about it with Tito is that he's slipped that, that little bit over the years. And if you look at his last 9 fights, he's only won 1, and he had a draw against Rashad Evans. So out of 9 fights, which is kind of crazy. He got knocked out by Chuck Liddell to start off this losing streak. The draw against Rashad, lost the decision to Lyoto Machida, lost the decision to, or split decision to Forrest Griffin, lost the decision to Matt Hamill. Then he beat Ryan Bader. Then he got knocked out by Rashad. Then he got knocked out by Little Nog, and now he's lost the decision. So the thing about Tito was at the end of his career here, he actually was doing pretty damn well. Like, he was in most of these fights, in terms of the decision losses. I mean, yes, he got knocked out by Chuck, but Chuck knocks out everybody, so that doesn't really count. The draw against Rashad, I mean, drawing against Rashad is nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, he's one of the best in the world at this point, and has been for a while. Decision, it was a close decision against Lyoto, so that wasn't that bad either. He was really close. It just seemed like he had slipped that little bit, and a lot of these fights he probably could have won if he had just had better cardio. Maybe didn't have as many problems with his back, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, it was weird a year ago when he beat Ryan Bader with that guillotine choke after landing that, was it a right cross, I think? Pretty sure he landed right hook or right cross. And then, of course, choked him out. Now, a lot of us, I was really excited because at that time, Ryan Bader was supposed to be like maybe like a top 5, definitely top 10 light heavyweight. And here comes Tito Ortiz, who's supposed to be retiring, and, finishes him in the first round. Like, that was just crazy. Was it fluky? No, I don't think it was fluky. I just think that Tito is very skilled. His stand-up is underrated because he's fighting guys like Chuck Liddell and, Lyoto Machida. So he does have good stand-up. He's got good boxing, really good boxing. And he does have decent submissions, too. He almost submitted Lyoto in that fight at the end of that. So, I don't really think it was very fluky against Ryan Bader. It's just that at the beginning of the fight, even when you're older and stuff, when you're getting older and on in the years, you're still going to be fresh at the beginning of the fight. The problem is once a fighter starts getting into the fight when they're at those older ages, their cardio is going to suck. Their reflexes, are going to not be quite as good as they were, which is why some wrestlers like Randy Couture can go on years and years and years later. It's because, in terms of reflexes, I mean, yes, it's very important in wrestling too, but if you can keep the fight close, you can wrestle with the guy, it can, your reflexes aren't as big of a deal. And he was able to keep good cardio over the years as well. So, but Tito's has been lackluster. And, pretty much, I think it's time. I think it's time for him to retire. I mean, his body, to me, seems like he's having injury after injury after injury. And, he is one of the greatest of all time. Definitely sucks to see him go. But, you can't keep going on like this. You can't keep going on with him fighting guys, and, him just constantly losing. If you go 1-1 out of 9 fights, I mean, most guys would have been kicked out of the UFC a long time ago. The fact that it's Tito and that he's one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport. I'd probably put him in, I don't think, would he be in the top 10? I don't think so, but definitely the top 20. He definitely would be in the top 20. Probably somewhere in the, between 10 and 15 in terms of, how well, how good he is in terms of, what he was able to do in the sport. The only knock against Tito in his career, in my opinion, is really that he fought a lot of guys too many times. Like, he fought Ken Shamrock 3 times. He fought Forrest Griffin 3 times. He just had a lot of repeats where he would fight the same guys over and over again, like that type of thing. And, I don't like that. Chuck Liddell, too. He fought him a couple times, too. Was supposed to fight him 3 times. Ended up just fighting him twice. So that's 3 guys that he either was supposed to fight 3 times. So a total of 9 fights it would have been if he'd have taken the last fight against Chuck. But anyway, definitely one of the best of all time. I think this is the right time for Tito to go. It seemed like maybe he was going to be able to make a comeback after Ryan Bader. It seemed like, maybe his injuries have healed and he's good to go and he's right back in shape. But unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I would have liked to see him come back if he was able to beat Rashad and fight John Jones or something. That would have been cool. But unfortunately, he's just he doesn't have it anymore. So we're going to have to see Tito go. I mean, Fedor retired this month. Now Tito's going to retire. Chuck Liddell's retired. Man, Randy Couture's retired. Jeez, all these guys that, used to be so great in the sport and everybody used to love watching. I remember watching all of them when I was really young and stuff and just coming up, and I loved it, man. So kind of sucks, but what are you going to do? Everybody gets old. Tito Ortiz, one of the greatest of all time for sure. Let me know what you guys think about it. Is this the right time for Tito to go? I think it is. How'd you like the fight against Forrest? I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good still. But again, fighting the same guy too many times, I don't like that. So that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one later. Peace.